So assuming you're in the market to get yourself a laptop and you have a budget of less than $200, that is, let's say between 170 USD to 200 USD, and you're looking for something that is quite powerful yet affordable and not so bulky, something that is portable, there's a high chance that you're going to come across these two laptops. So this right here is the HP EliteBook 840 G4, and this one right here is the Dell Latitude 7480. Now, what is so common between these two laptops? Because on the market, the price tag is just the same. So as you can see right over here, this is Core i7 and it's 7th gen. Again, right over here, Core i7, 7th gen. So the generation is the same. That means we have similar processor on both these two laptops. And then again, remember this is 840, so it means it's 14 inch. Here it's 7480, 14 inch. So both of them are 14 inches in size, so that means they are quite portable. So for the Dell Latitude, this is how the keyboard is. You can see how the keyboard is. I'll leave you to comment about the keyboard design of these two machines, because personally, I love the design we have on the Dell Latitude, the keyboard. The keys travel distance was quite satisfying. Yeah. Then we have the legendary track point right over there. This is how the trackpad is. It's a bit small, but we have two click pads on top, two on the bottom, so they're quite handy. Then right here is just a tapping surface for the trackpad, nothing, no button. And then for the 840 G4, this is how the keyboard is. The keys are quite okay. Yeah, the travel distance is just quite okay. Then the click pad, we have two at the top, two at the bottom, two at the top, two at the bottom, you can see. Yeah, then right here you don't have haptic feedback, it's just a trackpad surface, nothing much. This is where we have fingerprint sensor. Then we have that shortcut icon for Wi-Fi, hotspot, and then speaker. This is the power button. While on the Latitude we have the power button right on the right hand side. For HP we have it on the left. And remember, they both have backlit keyboards. So for the Dell, you see we have the backlit icon right here on F10. Then for HP we have the backlit icon right here on F3. You can see it here. This is the icon for backlit, so they're both backlit. Right on top here for HP you have speakers ventilation, so it's upward firing speakers. For Dell, they're not visible here, so it means we have them right here at the bottom. And see, this is where we have the speakers ventilation for Dell. So they are downward firing. We'll do sound test of the speakers to see which one has good sound quality or which is the loudest compared to the other. On the screen size, let me just tilt it like this, screen side. See, you can see this is how they are. There's quite a big difference in how the bezels look like, because these machines are the same generation, but in terms of design, body build, you can see for Dell, we have very thin bezels right and left, and even on the top it's not that thick. Yeah, you can see how it is. This is the camera icon right over here for Dell. You can see then you have dual microphone slots. For HP, we have a very big bezel right over here. So I think Dell still wins there. So Dell won on the keyboard, and it's actually winning on the frame design, because as you can see, the frame design, this HP is not that good. It's quite big. That is something you'll have to deal with. Then for the cameras, we actually do physical camera test for these two cameras, which one is better. Remember, both of them, they are made of carbon and magnesium alloy, so they are quite strong and portable at the same time, lightweight, not so heavy. It's only that here we have it being black and here we have it being silver color, the hinges. Now, this is a tie because most of these HP EliteBook 840 G4 or G3 series, the hinges are normally so strong. It's quite difficult to come across one with a broken hinge. But now here, this hinge can only flip to, see that angle? It's close to an 80. That's around 160 degree. So I don't know why they decided to make it to a point that can flip only to that angle, because this is so dangerous. There's high chances that somebody is going to tip over here, and the possibility of the laptop falling over or breaking the hinges are so high. But for the Dell Latitude we have over here, the hinge is quite strong too, just as we have on the HP. We have the central support base. Yeah. Now what I love about the Dell hinge is that you can flip it to an 80-degree right over there. So you see, there's minimal chances of damaging the hinge because it will flip to an 80 degrees. So if it's on the table, then if you flip it to that angle, then the laptop is still quite stable on the table. Then again, these advantages because if you're maybe explaining something, or maybe you're doing a presentation somewhere, or maybe to a friend, then it will be quite easy because you just have to put it straight like that. So even the person standing on side by side will be able to see what's on the screen, as opposed to what we have right here on the HP EliteBook 840 G4. Dell is winning on quite a lot of factors, but HP still has a name, especially on my area of locality or in my country. A lot of people still prefer HP, but so far we've reviewed the keyboard, we've have a look at the frame, now we've have a look at this tilting of the screen, and still Dell is winning. This is how the bottom cover looks like. You see how big the ventilation we have on the Dell for inflow of air. Then this is where we have for output of the exhaust of air. For HP, it's quite big too. You can see the RAM. Inside this is where we have the RAM slots. I'll open the back cover so that you see the upgradability of these two machines. This is the inflow of air, then we have outflow of air right over here. We have these rubbers that are very important. One, they help the laptop have proper elevation when it's on the surface or in the table like this, so that you have enough airflow underneath the machine. Then two, these rubbers, they help the laptop to have proper grip on the table. That's the same to what we have here on the Dell. We have only two rubbers, so this is how they're placed. And this one is a bit elevated. I don't know if it's visible from there, but you can see there's quite elevation right over here. And the same we have right over here. So there's that elevation to leave room for airflow underneath the machine. Then we have the speaker ventilation, as I said earlier, on Dell Latitude. Remember I said it's Dell Latitude 7480, so that's where the model is. For HP, it's somewhere there. I don't know if it will be visible, but you can see there, HP EliteBook 840 G4. Underneath it here, we have screws on both these laptops. In case you have an emergency and maybe you want to do some cleaning or of the fans, or you just want to upgrade the RAM on these two machines, you want to upgrade SSD, how many screws will you face underneath these two machines? So for Dell, you have 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's around 7. Is it 7? This is 3, 3, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 screws to deal with before you move the back cover. But for this HP, you have to deal with 1, 2, 3. Then there, that is 6. Plus here you have another one, that is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is a bit hectic compared to Dell. Once again, Dell wins on serviceability. Removing the bottom cover, it will be quite easier as compared to these in terms of time. Now let's boot them on, see how fast it takes to boot on before we get to see what we have. I'm going to turn them on at the same time we have the power button right over here. So let's turn them on and see how fast they take to turn on. 1, 2, 3, go. Now as you can see, those icons are lighting. Yeah, let's expect something on the screen. Dell is already displaying. Wait for HP. The backlight on the HP is on, so we expect it to turn on any minute from here. Dell is actually up and running. HP is still lagging behind. I don't know if there's an issue. There might be an issue with the HP. Okay, yeah, it goes. But Dell is on. Yeah, it's already on. Now let's see how fast they take to get to the desktop for both of them. We're approaching the 1 minute mark. It's funny that here it's written HP. I think at the time of the installation, when I'm installing the new Windows, I mistakenly wrote there HP instead of Dell. Don't mistake that. HP is on, Dell is on. We're waiting for it to get to the desktop. It's crazy. This is so crazy, guys. This is so crazy. HP is on. We have the desktop. Dell, there's a bit of drag right over there. You can see the mouse is moving, but you can't be able to see what's on the desktop. So there's a bit of a glitch right over here. But something that I'd love to clarify is that when both these two machines are using, they have the same processor, they're using SSD. There's normally a difference in the type of SSD installed on this machine. Some of them have Samsung SSD, some of them have Cynix SSD, some of them have Intel SSDs. Those SSDs varies in terms of speed, read and write speed. So the booting speed might be different on those laptops, depending solely or mainly on those SSDs. If you have constant factors like generation of processor, and type of processor. So that's why at times you might find one laptop booting faster than the other, yet they have almost the same specs because of the difference we have on the SSD. And remember, the RAM we have on both these two laptops the same. We have 16 GB of RAM right over there and 16 GB of RAM right over here. So let me just get this Dell to boot up to the desktop so that continue with the review. Yeah, so now that they're both on, let's have a look at the processors. Remember, have a look at this sticker you see over here and have a look at this sticker you see over here. So the stickers are both similar. So it means the processor we have on both these two laptops, the processor is from the same manufacturer, that is from Intel. Yeah, so it's an Intel processor, it's 7th gen, so it's the same. It's only that this is Dell and this is HP. There's no difference in the processor. It doesn't mean that the i7 we have on this HP is better than the one we have on this Dell. They're both the same, and that is proven by what we have right here on the screen. So have a look at here. This is the CPU for Dell. You can see it's i7-7600U. See there? Then at 2.8 gigahertz. For HP, just have a look. i7-7600U at 2.8 gigahertz. So that is something that normally happens. We have a misconception, maybe, or some people think that the processor we have on i7 or this Dell i7 is HP i7 is better than Dell i7. No, that is just the same because the manufacturer is also the same person of the processor. So here for HP, you can see the base speed is 2.9 gigahertz. We have 2 cores and 4 logical processors. For Dell, same thing, 2.9 gigahertz base speed, 2 cores and 4 logical processors. So the strength is just the same. Then for memory, you can see here, for memory, let me just move this to memory. Yeah, then here to memory. So for Dell, you can see the memory slots uses 1 out of 2. The form factor is sodium. We'll confirm that on the motherboard, the back part, see if the RAM is upgradable or not. But so far, because it's sodium, it indicates that it's upgradable. We'll just have to counter check that. It means we have one RAM of 16 GB and we can add another one of 16 GB to make that 2 GB of RAM on this empty slot we have over here. And the speed is 2133 megahertz. For HP, you can see also we have the speed is 21.3 megahertz. Slots uses 2 out of 2. The form factor it's sodium, but here you see it's 16 GB, so it means one slot has 8 and another one has slot, being the total 16 GB of RAM. Then here for disk, you can see we have micron type of SSD, 256 GB SSD, and then for HP we have SanDisk SSD of 128 GB. At booting time, remember there was quite a drag. We have micron right over here, then we have SanDisk right over, so you can tell which one is faster than the other. So that one is 128 GB, but it doesn't matter because it's 256. There's something interesting on these two laptops. You see here we have disk only, disk 0, but for HP we have disk 0 and disk 1, so it means we have two disks right over here. This one is HDD type, you can see HDD, and it's off here right over here. You can see the size for 66, so it means we have 500 GB HDD. So this is some kind of hybrid setup. You install SSD and hard disk at the same time, but right over here we only have the SSD in place. As for the GPUs, because these are integrated GPUs on these machines, they process the same, so you expect the GPU to be same too, because this is integrated graphics that comes with the processor. So here you can see we have Intel HD graphics 620, here Intel HD graphics 620. What you can do on this HP is the same thing you can do on this Dell. And having those properties right over there, 16 GB of RAM, SSD, then it means with this machine you can be able to handle some heavy tasks, not so heavy, but heavy task. Maybe if you're an engineering student, you can install those engineering softwares right over there, AutoCAD softwares. If you're a content creator, then you can install Adobe Premiere Pro just for entry-level video editing. If you want to do high-end video editing, then you have to get a machine that has dedicated graphic card and not integrated as the one that we have right over here. So it's quite a powerful machine, good for multitasking, even though the processor, the number of cores is quite low. Having it at 4 cores, 2 cores and 4 logical processors is quite low compared to the type of processor we have on 8th gen machines. But considering the price tag and being the fact that the entry levels, you're quite good to go with these than other lower versions of these machines. Now, just before I turn them off, let's have a look at the screen's resolution. and then the camera. So for screen resolution, I normally advise you just come to the screen, right click or here, the screen. If you've not tested the speakers, you'll have to do that test right away. For display, you can see here, the resolution is 1920 by 1080. While on this HP, what do we have? Let me just, yeah, 1920 by 1080. So the screen resolution, both of them have full HD panels, but the screen on Dell appears to be quite reddish. Here it's bluish. So they need some form of calibration. That is calibration that you can do. If I happen to adjust the brightness levels on this HP, let me just do on Dell, maximum brightness level, that is it. Then HP is already at maximum brightness levels. So I think HP has a brighter screen compared to what we have on the Dell. So this is quite good for outdoor environment compared to what we have over here. Then let's just put the least brightness you see. If maybe you're trying to save on battery, then which one will still be visible? There's some sort of flickering on this due to the camera. I think, yeah, there's an issue with that, with the camera, but you can see how the screen react to the camera. So there's not that flickering as what you see over there. So it means we have a good anti-reflective screen here on Dell compared to what we have on the HP. Let's have a look at the camera of these two machines. And just before we test the cameras, let's have a look at the keyboard backlit. Remember we said both of them are backlit, but let's see how they perform in dark room or in environments where we don't have lighting. So there you go. Yeah, so that is how the backlit of Dell is. Look at the light distribution on the keys. What do you have to say about that? And then for HP, that is how the backlit distribution is on the keys. What's your say on both these two machines? So now let's test the cameras you see before we test the speakers, and then we get to the motherboard pretty fast. Now, this is the camera and video recording from the Dell Latitude 7480, and I think I'm quite dark. I'm not as dark as you're seeing me on this camera. I think it's just because the camera is not that quite good, but at least there's no delay. So if you're doing a video call or a Zoom meeting call, then you won't have those lags. I don't know how good the sound quality is, but we'll see, or let me know in the comment section how good the sound quality is from this Dell Latitude 7480. This is the recording from the HP EliteBook 840G4. That is how the camera is. I'm not as dark as I was on the Dell, but still dark. Maybe my lighting is not that good. I don't know how good the sound quality is, but I hope it's quite good because we have dual microphones set up right on top there. So expect the sound reception to be quite good. And if I'm doing video or Zoom call meeting, then expect myself to be audible to whoever we are having a conversation with. Otherwise, let me know the difference between this camera and the Dell Latitude 7480 camera in the comments. So we start with the sound test from Dell. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, now let's listen to HP. So what do you think about those two sound or speakers? Because I feel there's a tie, though Dell is somehow winning in terms of that crispiness of the differentiation between the bass and the mids. There's a big difference right on Dell compared to what we have on HP, but overall they're almost the same. Remember, for HP the sound system is supported by Bang & Olufsen right over here, you can see. So they normally work on that sound so well. But for Dell, it's quite good too. Now that they're off, let's have a look at the ports, both on the right and left. Now on the right hand side, you can see for HP, we have that ventilation slot. I actually don't love the ventilation slot being on the sides, either side of the laptop. I love them being on the sides, right over here. As we have on Dell, the ventilation slot is hidden right underneath here. This is the charging port for Dell, that is big pin. Again, we have Type-C slot here. So it means for this Dell, you can be able to charge it either through the big pin or Type-C slot, Thunderbolt port right over there. We have HDMI slot, two USB 3.0 ports right over there for fast or high-speed data transfer. Then for HP, this is a ventilation slot. We have VGA port, which might be somewhat useful if you're a traditional person, but right now we're moving away from this. So I don't know the reasons why they had to put this still there. We have USB 3.0 port right over there for high-speed data transfer. Then both of them have smart card reader slots right here. That is optional. On the right hand side, this is what you have. For HP, the charging slot is on the right hand side. I don't know what happens with these companies, but it's as if they don't want to be the same. So HP puts charging port on the right, Dell puts it on the left. I don't know why. Even Lenovo will find that scenario, because the Lenovo, we have the charging port on the left hand side. Then for HP, you can see here we have SIM card slot right over there. So it has SIM card capability. This is something that is normally optional, it's not a must. Docking port, we have Ethernet port right over there. Another USB 3.0 port, so we have a total of 2 ports. Audio jack port, we have display port, sorry. So not HDMI, but display port. Then here we have USB Type-C Thunderbolt port. So here we don't have HDMI port, but you have VGA on the other side and then display port on this side. So these are some more disadvantages because you'll have to find a converter from DisplayPort to HDMI if you're a fan of using this port. As for Dell, we have the Kingston lock right over there. We have Ethernet port that is visible here and here, so that's a tie. We have another USB 3.0 port. Remember, on the other side you had 2, so we have a total of 3 USB 3.0 ports on Dell as compared to 2 on HP. Then you have SIM card slot right over there and memory card slot. HP you only have SIM card slot, no memory card slot, but here you have SIM card slot and TFT slot. Then this is the audio microphone jack combo, so that's a tie. In terms of port, again, Dell wins because it has 3 USB 3.0 ports, 1 here and 2 on the other side, while HP, it only has 2. Again, here we have HDMI that is so modern compared to the display port we have over here that will need you to use a converter. So let me just remove the bottom cover. Actually, I've already opened the screws, and most of the time my normal advice, to get yourself in a scenario where you have to upgrade your machine, you have to remove the bottom cover. Then after removing the screws on both the machines, start with lifting up the upper part, because most of the time you find you have clips on the lower side of this cover. So for HP, we'll just I don't know if it's possible with a single hand. Let me just try. Yeah, that's not working. I'll just have to remove them, then get to see, because even for Dell, it's not. Yeah, see, for Dell, we have the cover out. Just have a look. Then for HP, I think I'll just give it a try one more time. Yeah, it's out. So that is how, this is what we have on the interior of these two machines. This is HP, this is Dell. Once again, big batteries. Yeah, RAM slots, you have 2 RAM slots here. Expansibility, remember, so we had 16 GB of RAM here. This is 16. While here, remember, it was only 16, so you have another slot to put 16 GB of RAM. Then this is the SSD. For HP, you have it right over here. This is the fan. Then we have the processor. So this is the heatsink. For HP, you have a very big heatsink here. So the efficiency of cooling right here, it's much better than what we have over here, because this is a small fan compared to here, and the heatsink is quite big. Another interesting factor here, you can see this is the Wi-Fi card for Dell. Then is the Wi-Fi card right over here. There's additional card here. This is the SIM card, IMEI card, 4G LTE card for HP. And you can also add one right here on Dell. CLT1, so it can be added here. You can actually take out this one and put it here and it still work. It's something that is always universal, can work on both the machines because the connector is just the same. What do you see that is different from Dell? And it's available here on HP. You can see what I'm holding here. So this is the hard disk. Remember, we saw our system properties that it had two types of storage. You had SSD and hard disk. So you have the slot for hard disk here. While for Dell, there's no slot for hard disk. So this is quite advantageous because it's hybrid in nature. You can have higher storage capacity on this HP compared to this Dell. So on this Dell, the only thing you can do is upgrading the SSD you have over here. You remove it and add another one of bigger size. But here you can retain the SSD you had and then you upgrade the hard disk. Otherwise, there's no much difference. This is where we have the CMOS battery. For HP, the CMOS battery is right over here. As for the speakers that are making so much noise, for HP, you have the speakers hidden underneath here because remember they are upward firing, so they're right down here, not visible. But for Dell, you have the speakers right here and here. And remember they are downward firing. So that is it. And that is all for HP. Others, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think about this particular review. If you really love this review, also leave a like and don't forget to leave a comment. You've seen which one wins in terms of property by property comparison. You'll choose your poison wisely because at the end of the day, most of us, maybe some of us love Dell, some of us love HP. I'll leave you to decide on that one. See you next time on another review of that one. Don't forget to leave a like on this video. I really appreciate your support. And don't forget to hit on that subscribe button as we wait for the next video. See you next time.